what's good, everybody? Happy Wednesday. I just need to shut off my cell phone here for a second. If you just bear with me. I think that should do the trick. How's it going today? Everybody doing good? If you're joining us live here, thank you so much for watching live. Pretty cool. I would have never thought many people would watch live, but I do appreciate you watching live. We've got a lot to talk about today, considering that the stock market really, there wasn't a lot of news, right? The news was pretty much focused on Syria and Facebook, a couple other little things here and there. Paul Ryan retiring, good for him. Don't know why, really. I'm sure we'll never know why, really, but not so bad there. Anyways, what I want to talk about today is the markets. Before we get into that, remember, you guys have been super helpful. If you're a customer of Jazz Wealth, even some of you that aren't clients and maybe considering it, have been sending in suggestions for what to add to our class. I just finished the credit section of the class last night. Ooh, it's good. It's good. And you know I don't say that lightly. When something is good, I will tell you it's good. But here's the thing. I got a few questions on would I be selling the class? I'm not going to sell the class. I have no interest in doing that. This business, I have a rule. And many of you know, if you're one of my clients, you know that this is how we operate. But the rule for the business is whatever we offer, whatever we do, has to benefit the end user more than it benefits us. So, for example, the retirement investing, all the personal finance classes that we do, it's got to benefit you more than me. I'll take the benefit in the long run. I know I'm building this for the long run. I know one day it'll pay off. It'll be a great thing. I've got the vision. But I don't want to be one of those guys that sells courses and things like that. So unless one of you can find a way to make it benefit the end user or benefit even someone else more than it benefits me, maybe I would offer the course. But for the moment, I have no interest, nor do I think I know how to set that up where you can sell a course or something. So for now, just for customers, they're always going to be the first. And so we'll stick with that. Thanks for asking, though. And I do take your suggestions if you have sent them in. Let's go over to the charts because you're not here to hear about that. You're here to hear about the markets. The S&P, guess what it did today? Nothing. It didn't do anything. It just sat sideways there, continues to be in this range. We have been talking about the time correction versus price correction. The time correction is over. So I'm telling you that now. When this market fell and hit the 200-day moving average, we talked about that was a price correction, and now there would be a time period where the markets wouldn't do a whole lot, and we call that a time correction. Well, that's over. So time correction is over. Now the markets start moving back into normal things. So the good news is time correction is over. The bad news is, my opinion is, I think it's going to move to the downside, at least in the short term here. So that's okay. We'll deal with it as it happens. The real exciting part of, well, let's do this here. The Dow was lower by 216 today. S&P was off 14 points, and the Nasdaq closed lower by 25 points on the day. A little bit of a disconnect there. You notice that disconnect? We always like to point that out. When the stock market is not moving in lockstep, meaning every index is basically up or down the same percentage, that tells you something's a little off there. So the Dow was a little bit lower, and it really struggled all day today to keep up. And the reason for that was Boeing. So if we go, can we find Boeing? Boeing was down 2.25% today, but the sort of heavy weighting on the Dow today was the banking stocks. Now you know the drill. The banking stocks must move with the tech stocks or the stock market will go nowhere. So before I get into the banking stocks, let's take a look. Here is the sector, the banking sector as a whole, down 1.19% today. The tech sector as a whole, flat. It tried. It was up earlier in the day, but just couldn't hang on to those gains. So what that means is the stock market was not going to have any reasonable rally today. You could see it all day long, just the two fighting each other out. No problem. But in the Dow, that's a little bit disconnected. The reason we have that disconnect is the banking stocks. You had JP Morgan down 1.6. In the Dow, you also had looks like American Express down 1.5%. Goldman Sachs also in the Dow, 1.41%. And can we count Travelers? I don't know that we would count Travelers in there. Down 1%. Banking stocks were weak today. Outside of that, Morgan Stanley was down 2.5%. Good weakness there. And then Wells Fargo, I believe, was down as well. So banking stocks were weak today. That pulled on the overall market. That is the short answer to the long-winded story that I just gave you. Meanwhile, going over to energy, that's going to be your better performer in your portfolio today. If you're with us here at Jazz Wealth, that was continuing its move up and out of this range. We've been talking about this now for about a week, how that pressure seemed to be building to the upside. I don't have any magical skill. It's just looking at this day in and day out, we were able to pick up on that and say, hey, the markets or energy stocks are showing us they want to move higher. They have done that. Now I think they take a little bit of a break. You won't see a straight line rally. I think there'll be a little break there. And that's okay, totally acceptable. The commodity space, we also been pointing that out. See these red lines? Drew those a couple, almost a week ago now. No, earlier this week. We drew them on there saying, hey, looks like this thing's ready to break out. Went over the whole explanation why. We won't do that again to you. And so far that breakout is continuing as well. So energy and commodities in your portfolio, definitely the outperformers today. That doesn't mean everything else is doing bad. We've got some of your bonds doing well today. People ran over towards those commodities, bonds, energy, as there's the news of maybe throwing some missiles over at Syria. So that happens, typical stuff. If you've been around for a while and you've kind of been through everything from the Iraq war all the way through, you know how this goes. It's pretty much the same. I'll leave you with Facebook. It only finished up 1/3% today. So Mark Zuckerberg wrapping up on Capitol Hill today with the House Energy Committee or something like that, Energy and Commerce Committee. He wrapped up there, basically answered a bunch of dumb questions. Yesterday, Facebook had its best day in 2 years. Today, it continued that a little bit. We do have that 200-day moving average overhead. I don't know on this one. You know, I hope it recovers. I like what they're doing there, but that's a lot of news to digest, and there's going to be no doubt that that'll stay in the news for the rest of the week. So that's what I have for you. If you want to see the price of oil, there you go, shooting up to new highs. Gold had a nice strong day too as well, also breaking above new highs. We did talk about that. And that's all I really have for you. I'll keep it short. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. It looks like we do have one question today on our live stream. How would you work with someone that has a $25,000 salary to build a retirement package and investment portfolio at the age of 40? I would say it has very, how do I say it? It would be more focused on getting your personal finances straight. If you're not in a position to invest, then that's okay. You might have to take some time and say, let me figure out my finances first. Let me make sure that I'm making the most of that $25,000 before I go trying to stress myself over retirement. So although my answer should be, yeah, come on over, join us here at Jazz, we'll take care of you. Really, my focus would be on your money first. Let's make sure you're not going to stress yourself in the short term. And if you're not, then great. You could get started. We'll show you how, but that's probably where I would start. I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, jazzwealth.com. Chat with Jazz if you want to talk with me or send me a message. That's cool too. We'll get to it. Have a good day. Talk to you soon.